Well, as you can see, if you're watching the video, I'm experimenting with something different this week, in that I'm clearly not in my office like I have been for, I think, all of the tea times that I've ever recorded. I'm at home, and I thought to myself, well, I'm going to have the house partially to myself on some nights here over the summer while Mike is at rehearsal for a play, and Anna's in bed, and Henry is occupied, and so I thought, and it's getting, oh, I'm not looking at, this is fraught with difficulties, so I'm apologizing for all of the things that I'm about to explain that I'm doing wrong, because I've changed my setup. Okay, but where was I? I was talking about, right, so I knew I would have some time to myself in the house, and so I thought it would be nice if I like changed up the setting, and I thought that it might be nice to relieve my burden of when I usually record these at work, and I'm not always worried about the people next to me making lots of noise or me possibly disturbing them by talking to myself seemingly, and so I'm just real paranoid about talking when they're in their offices, so I thought I should try to find a way to record these at home at least some of the time. So that's what I'm doing. However, you can see that there are some cons to what I'm doing here, and that is that I just spent like the last 20 minutes and I'm sweltering because we don't have central air conditioning in my house, and it's the evening time, which maybe you can also tell from the video, and so I'm hot, I'm a little sweaty and uncomfortable, and I could not find a good setup for this is my phone, it's not my webcam. And so I'm not used to like looking at the little camera thing where it is on my phone, and I'm afraid it's gonna fall over. And where I originally wanted to record this, it was like way too dark. I don't know why, because it would look fine on the camera when I was just setting it up, and then I would hit the record button and it would like darken. So it was like some kind of an ominous, scary movie or something. So that didn't work, and so I'm in a spot that I'm not really happy with, but it's working, and the phone is propped up by a couple of books, and I don't know, just doing my best. But I thought it would be nice to mix things up and experiment. And so here we are, that's what we're doing, and you're along for the ride. Because it's the evening time, and half of my children are already in bed, I don't have coffee, I have water. And it is good water, let me tell you. And after the past couple of days, I kind of really need it. So you can enjoy whatever it is that you're drinking, morning or night. So depending on whether it's a caffeinated beverage or one of the more adult nature. I'm glad to have you with me. And so this whole sort of somewhat disastrous foray into recording again on my phone, it just kind of fits with my past couple days. So nothing dramatic has happened in the past couple days. It's just been, because it's Tuesday, I usually record these on Thursdays, but you know, I'm switching things up, what can I say? So I've been very stressed out. Maybe you can tell. If you follow me on Twitter, or I text you, and you definitely know. If you're Samantha or Christina or Allison. So yeah, it's you know how life is. So sometimes you just go through these stretches and it just feels like everything all of a sudden is just harder. It's just harder, you know, than it was. And it's the summertime, and I guess I expected things to be like relaxing, and you know, they're not. And most of it is work related. I mentioned, can't even remember what the last was that I updated you all on, but I know I talked about teaching last week, so I probably spoke about this at least more generally, but on Monday I met with some of my colleagues and we talked about more specifics, and so it looks like my teaching load for the coming fall is going to be 15 classes per week. That's a 1-5. So as you can kind of imagine, it's a lot. It's not every single week, but it's for more than half the semester. So it's gonna be a little crazy. I'll be teaching 3 classes a day, and it's very draining. And that just sort of came home to me, I guess. I was thinking, I mean, I have some seniority there, so I got to pick when I would have them, and so they're in the morning, 8 a.m. on some days, but that's okay, because I like to get all my teaching done early. It's when I'm at my best, so sort of, and or 9 a.m. And then My last one of the day is always in the later part of the afternoon, so anywhere between 2 and 3 o'clock is my start time. And I'm always finished by 10 to 4, so it's not bad, right? Could be worse. But I've just got a lot of other things going on. So, you know, I've got this writing project and other writing things that I do for Catholic Mom. It's coming along really well. But it's, you know, I'm just concerned about squeezing it all in, you know. So that's been on my mind. And just some other things with, mostly that. But just other lifey type things. You know, my husband, Mike, is also a college instructor, and he has a position that has its pros and cons, which is to say that he's an adjunct. And so the pros to that is that we have a ton of flexibility. He takes care of lots of stuff with the kids, getting them to and from school, and lots of stuff around the house. You know, he's able to do cleaning and grocery shopping and all of that because he's home more than I am, and he does a fantastic job at it, and he works really well out of our home. So when he has to do his grading, and he also enjoys, as an avocation of his, just like me, writing, and he hopes to someday have that published, and so he works on that as well. And so that's all really fantastic. That's all pros. The cons that has also been sort of on my mind is that because you're an adjunct, you're not a full-time contracted employee for any of these colleges that he teaches at, and so therefore your position is more tenuous. So depending upon their enrollment in a given semester, you know, his classes may or may not run. Therefore, you may or may not get paid. So that's a major con, you know, but we accepted that a long time ago, and it has always worked out, and I'm sure that it's going to work out again. But there's a few of the classes that he has prospectively for the fall may or may not end up running for various reasons due to the college's staffing and student enrollment. So things totally out of our control. And isn't that always the rub? Things that are out of our control yet are difficult to not worry about because that's just part of our human nature. And it's just, we won't have that resolved for a couple of weeks. So, you know, if he doesn't have that extra money in the fall, it could prove difficult, especially with Anne starting kindergarten, which means we'll have 2 kids in Catholic school. So yeah, on my mind. All this stuff on my mind. And just a couple other things, you know, as well, rolled into the mix, right? So it's Tuesday and I feel like it's been a really long week already. But it's going to be, I know it's going to be okay. But all this is going on, and so my mind is very preoccupied, and therefore I feel very spiritually dry. I've been trying to pray my rosary in the car on my way to and from work, and it just, I'm not doing anything else prayer-wise, just keeping it real here. I feel like my mind is too whirly. It's a whirl, and I can't focus. And so therefore my prayer life has just felt bleh. That's what it's felt like, bleh. So, and when I pray the rosary, it just doesn't bring me the same type of consolation that it usually does. And that happens sometimes. It's just part of it. But it's not an easy thing. And so I was thinking about that today. I was actually, and this summer I have time to write, so that's been wonderful. But there's a lot of pressure. I'm not going to be able to finish the whole book in the next month, so I'm just, you know, working on the first chapter and trying to get as much done as I can. So I was working on that today, and one of the books that I've been consulting in order to write this is The Imitation of Christ, and it's sitting on my desk at work. I don't have it in front of me now. But one of the passages that I was writing about has to do with God's providence and God's will. And as I've been writing about the passages in that book, each day that I've been writing about them since last week, they have really hit home with different things that were going on with me that day. Now, funny how that works. So today there was a section about God's providence, and it said, I wish I could read it, but I don't have the book in front of me like I mentioned. So it said in so many words that we should examine our motives for why we do certain things that we do. And are we discerning God's will when we make decisions in our life, or are we discerning what we want? And it really like packed a punch at the end of the paragraph, because it said, and if you are just going after your own motives and your own feelings on what would be best. Obviously paraphrasing, but in other words, it said, you know, how has that worked out for you in the past? Most likely you have found that things that you thought were right and that would work out a certain way, in a way that would be pleasing to you, didn't actually work out that way when you were only going based upon your own will and not on God's. Let's just pause for a moment to let that sink in, because truer words have never been said. And I encountered that as a much younger person. Many bad decisions that we're not going to go into now. But I thought this was the way to go. I may have had like a little inkling in the back of my head that perhaps there was other concerns, but I just ignored those things. And I went ahead, and yeah, in the end, it wasn't so great. Some things in there that if I could go back and change it, I would. But as we all know, there's no going back, right? That's how we learn, unfortunately. And even now, where I am in my life, with a few more wiser years in between, I still make that mistake sometimes. I really do. Oftentimes, even. And so I'm sitting here and I'm worrying about all of these things, and I'm telling myself that I just have to let it go. And I'm trying, I really am. But it's hard, and I'm not sleeping really well, and I'm just worried about all of these things coming up, how it's going to work out, how it's going to work out for me with all the teaching, and how it's going to work out with Mike's classes, and how are we going to get the kids to school with, you know, these early classes that we're going to have. And right. And I tell myself I shouldn't worry about it. It's going to work out. It's going to be okay. We're going to have a plan, and I'm not in this alone. It's going to be fine. And my husband tells me that too, right? But it's tough. And so I just want to seize control and just make it all work out according to what I think it should be, because then I can like breathe easy. That's what I think. But has that ever worked out for me in the past? It has not. But it does not ever mean that I won't have that as my initial thought when it comes to challenging times such as these. So I'm just trying to work through it as best I can. I had a really nice evening tonight talking with Mike, who cooked dinner, pasta with vodka sauce. I am a very lucky woman. He's wonderful. He was teaching earlier in the summer. He had 2 summer classes, and he was supposed to be teaching right now. And as we were just talking about, his final summer session only had a couple of students enrolled, and so therefore the college won't run the class. So, you know, you worry, because we would have really loved to have had that money to have put towards, you know, some stuff. You know, the kids' fees for school next month and things like that. Oh, that's another thing. My car. I feel like I've been complaining all day, and so I don't want to do that. But needless to sum it all up, I have an old car, and I'm worried about it, and we really can't replace it just yet, so it's going to a mechanic tomorrow. Please say a prayer for Civic, my 2000 Honda Civic, that it's not too bad in terms of the bill. Okay, so, you know, it's easy to worry about these things, but why borrow worry? And Mike tells me that all the time. So while he was cooking, we were talking about it, and it helped. You know, I felt a little bit better, and we had a nice dinner together, and I was helping him with his lines, because he's in another play, which was very pleasant. I just love seeing him in actor mode, as you know. So that was really nice, really nice evening. And so, you know, I'm just trying to hang in there. But I was thinking to myself that I really need to address the prayer life situation. I went to confession last week, and it was wonderfully cathartic, really helpful. And I think that it's because of that I have been able to pinpoint a bit that granted, there's this dryness, and that's not a fun thing. It makes it hard to pray. However, I'm not really holding up my end of the relationship, because it is a two-way street. If I'm not talking to God, he's not going to talk to me. You know what I mean? I'm just not, or I'm not listening, right? I suppose he's always there waiting to talk to me, but I'm not accepting that invitation because I'm not putting in the time. So, again, keeping it real. I pulled out my Divine Office app on my phone today, and I started trying to listen to morning prayer, and I was just really in the dumps, down in the dumps this morning. And it really didn't help, okay? I'm just gonna be honest. I was just like, oh, that is a longer commitment, you know, doing the Liturgy of the Hours. And so I was like, you know, I think this would be too ambitious for me right now. I do love Liturgy of the Hours, especially during Advent. That's my favorite time to pray the Liturgy of the Hours. It's also nice during Lent and Easter, but my favorite is Advent and Christmas. And so maybe I shouldn't bite that off right now. So what I'm going to do is, I brought 2 books down with me for show and tell quick. Okay. The first one is Sacred Reading. This is put out by the Apostleship of Prayer. I got it through Ave Maria Press, but it's on Amazon as well. And they put it out every year. So it's called Sacred Reading. This is the 2016 Guide to Daily Prayer. So obviously there's going to be a new one for the new liturgical year, because it starts in late November, early December, depending on when Advent begins each year. So if you're interested, you could wait until the new one comes out, since that's not too far away. But what it has is that for each day of the year, it's supposed to help you in the daily gospel reading, and then meditating and reflecting on that. So there's a couple of, you know, like thoughtful questions and a prayer at the end for each day. And it's short. So like, for example, for tomorrow, it starts up here, down here, and then it ends up here. Depending on the gospel reading, you know, it could be longer, but they're never longer than 2 pages. So I was thinking about trying this, because I had done it for a while at the beginning of the year. I had it by my bedside table, and then I would grab it in the morning. I got to see how that, you know, I was just getting like so tired of having such a hard time in the morning. My vision is just not at its best. It takes my eyes kind of a while to wake up. And I do have diminished vision. I wear glasses when I'm not talking to you on the phone here, when I'm at work. Usually when I read, but in the mornings, it's like my eyes are just like unfocused. So I might maybe get ready, like put my makeup on, get dressed or something, and then pick up. I'm going to try that. I'm going to experiment and let you know how it goes. So there's that. And then the other possibility is our good old friend Magnificat magazine. I subscribe, and every day they have, I use it for Sunday Mass, because you can use it for the readings and all that, but each day they will have a morning prayer. It's not the official Liturgy of the Hours, but it's a similar but much shorter version. So not the official prayer of the church, but still very good, right? So there's that, and it has the daily Mass readings, both of them, as well as the Psalm. So a reading from the Old or New Testament, as well as a gospel every day. There's a meditation of the day, and there's saint stories sprinkled in here. So this would also be something that would be a lighter lift that I could try in the mornings. But I need something. I need to do something just to keep myself on the right path and keep that relationship strong, and just guide me in discernment just with all of this stuff coming up. Because, you know, I have a good life. I have a really good life, and there's going to be things that come up that stress us out. It's going to happen to everybody, but I need to keep myself strong to be able to handle whatever comes my way. And the best way to do that is through starting off the day right, you know, with prayer. So if you have any ideas for me, I would love to hear them. I mean, really love it. And if you just want to commiserate, I would love to hear that too. And let me know how you liked my new evening home setting. I can see we're running a little bit longer than usual, so I was relaxed, and it's good. You hear the outdoor ambiance. We have a motorcycle going by. So yeah, I think it's kind of nice to mix it up, right? What do you think? So I'll be talking to you soon. But write into me. I'd love to hear from you, and I'll keep you posted. We're in this together, right? So prayer life struggles, daily prayer rituals, I want to hear them. I'll talk to you soon. Now I have to stop the video. I have to press the button, and I might knock over my phone. So I hope it's not too awkward. But I've enjoyed our talk, and I'll see you all next week. Bye.